This first question on the list says, how have you seen God to be faithful to you during your life? Well, I'm thinking about it. Uh, there have been events happen, I guess, that you can only contribute to God. It ends up being the only explanation. He's been faithful to me spiritually, physically, monetarily, marriagely. Uh, I think that's pretty good. I can think of no reason that I deserve that kind of guidance, companionship. Uh, so he's just still there. And I believe that he will always be there, even uh, living in the red zone, you know. I can step across any time, and I still believe he'll be there. And then when he comes back, I have plans to come back with him. So this is kind of a forever thing. Let me do that next question. I've seen God be faithful to this church in any number of ways. I came a little bit before Sue. We came in about 49. There have been tough times in this church that I've seen other churches go through, and they never recovered. They never gained their momentum back. They still, today, have still not got that back. God's been very good to this church. I want to tell two things, and I don't know where to tell them. This spot may be as good as any. It will work in the next question that I'm going to do, too. But one of the most memorable things in this church, and there's many, Larry Morgan's dad, if he had a nickel for every nail he drove around here, and every board he saw, he'd be a wealthy man, and probably is in heaven. And a lot of people have contributed. Otherwise, this church wouldn't be here. But there was a man that Ms. Boatwright visited with numerous times to try to get him to confess Christ as his Savior. And I had a man tell me, there's not anything you can do for people like that. And one morning, when we started to do the invitation, and I was up front where I could see, but habitually preachers pray before they start the invitation, and the preacher was praying, and when the prayer was over, this man was down here on this side, kneeling down, and he accepted the Lord as his Savior. Never say there's nothing that you can do about some individual. Well, and the other things that's very memorable was we had a boy that had one of the dystrophies. I don't remember which one, Sue. Muscular. And he was sitting in the chair by this third row here on this aisle to my left. And when the invitation started, he began to try to roll the wheels on that wheelchair. And he got them going. And he made it down there to the front and accepted Christ as his Savior. And that's what needs to be happening more of, is people being saved here. Those are very memorable things. There's a lot of others. That's God being faithful to a people. As with things, God has certainly blessed me with things. I have good health as far as old people go. There's something always wrong with old people. That's just the way it is. But I call myself healthy, and I'm able to do things that I want to do, even if it is less than half, but at least I can do. I think that's a blessing from God. I think that it's a spiritual blessing for, have I run over 5 minutes yet, Jeff? I think that it's a spiritual blessing for people when we can rely on one another to carry our needs to the throne of grace. I think that it's a spiritual blessing when you can see your kids active in the Lord's work. I think it's a spiritual blessing when you get to see all your grandkids saved. Those are all spiritual things, I think. God's presence is a spiritual thing. Is that about enough?
Excellent.